Welcome to Swala Nyeti, the law podcast that pairs a layman and a lawyer to answer your legal questions of the day. Swala Nyeti is sponsored by the law firm of Kigwata and Company Advocates and is intended for educational purposes only.
Welcome to episode 19 of Swala Nyeti. I am the lawyer, aka Wakili Harry Karanja, and I am joined here by Gashau Patrick, who is holding up a check. What's with the check, Gashau?
Wakili, have you ever worked for an employer who pays you by check?
Mm-hmm.
They could pay you on the first.
Yes.
But today is the day you get your money. And it's a funny experience. In fact, I used to work for one who used to pay me on Friday at 4 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
And then the first, say, on Monday is a public holiday.
Mm.
And then the landlord asks, when you plan to pay your rent?
Oh, boy. So why are you not banking the check you have then? You should have banked it 3 days
just a
ago.
memento. I just want to remember those hard days of waiting for a check to clear for 3 days.
Oh boy. So I hope all your checks have cleared out there. And today we also need to clear a new question. What do we have?
We have a question on the area of divorce. And this is it. Gentlemen, we need your help. My husband and I had a fairy tale romance. We were high school sweethearts. He was an athlete in high school who went on to become a famous architect. I started modeling at 16 and started to become a doctor. Our wedding was the talk of town for years. We have success in our careers, lots of money and property, but never got children. After 13 years, we both realized we no longer love each other, though we treat each other civilly. We sat and agreed that it's best to end our marriage since we don't want to live like brother and sister. Can we get divorced if we are not enemies?
All right. So let's see if I understand the question today. I don't think I heard names, but these two seem to have sent in the question together, husband and wife, who have been married for the past 13 years, but now have decided that they no longer want to remain married. And although they are very civil towards each other, they feel their marriage has ended and they want to know if they can approach the court and just get divorced because they no longer love each other.
Correct. And unfortunately for them, I must tell them, in Kenya, you can't just divorce. You go back to church, get a marital marriage counseling, you're a pastor, then fall in love again.
Well, Gashao, it seems this lady and gentleman have come to us for a legal solution. So the least we can do is at least try and give them something which is based in law. And from what I see, the real question they are asking here is whether not loving each other is a ground for divorce.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I see another issue which we need to address, which is whether these can constitute a collusion.
A collusion?
Yes, and collusion essentially refers to when two people agree that they want to get divorced. And in Kenya, you cannot collude to have a divorce.
You cannot agree to...
No, you cannot. In fact, if the judge... one of the requirements when you're filing a divorce petition is to include their sworn statement that you have not brought this petition in collusion with the other party.
And that happens all over the world?
No, this is something which happens in Kenya. In our jurisdiction, our Kenyan jurisdiction is what you call an at-fault. We have at-fault divorces, meaning that you need one party to be at fault in order to get a divorce.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. So if in fact it's sometimes people have tried to get around it by having one of the other parties commit a fault that can be a ground for divorce. I think they refer to them as sweetheart agreements.
Are there examples of these faults?
Yes, and especially so when you found that the grounds for divorce were limited to only adultery, desertion, and cruelty. You would find that some people felt, stage managing an adulterous situation could be a way to get the court to accept your divorce petition.
Just as a side note, is it true that also in Kenya,
yes,
you cannot get divorced if you've not been married for 3 years?
It's good that you bring that up because if you look at the reading of the law, it says that if you're in a civil marriage, then you can only come to court after 3 years of your marriage. You can only come to divorce court after 3 years. But recently, this was held unconstitutional for the reason that this requirement is only in civil marriages, but you don't see the same requirement in other types of marriages, such as Christian marriages. So it was recently held unconstitutional, but it's still there in the law.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, it seems then these people cannot get divorced.
Yeah.
They have no good reason other than lack of love.
Okay, so if they are not in collusion, they might be able to get relief and what we call irretrievable breakdown. So when it comes to grounds for divorce, in addition to the one I've mentioned of adultery, you can also have desertion, as I said, cruelty. You can have extreme depravity, or you can have irretrievable breakdown.
What is extreme? What do you call it?
Depravity.
What is that?
Well, there's no example given in the law, but I would assume, something like if someone was in a satanic cult or something, that would constitute extreme depravity. But here we're looking at irretrievable breakdown, and the law does go into some detail as to what would constitute irretrievable breakdown. And when I look at what this couple has mentioned, probably the closest they can get is to come and say that there's been separation for at least 2 years. That could be a ground for irretrievable breakdown.
Separation means they shouldn't have been living together for 2 years.
Yes. So if you've been separated for 2 years, you can come to court and say that's a ground for irretrievable breakdown.
What else can you do then? I don't know. We can't tell you they have been separated.
Yeah, and from what they're saying, it doesn't sound like it. It sounds like they've been very happy with each other as brother and sister.
Yeah.
But if they are not able to come under this irretrievable breakdown, then they have a possible option of coming to court as with an uncontested petition.
Uncontested petition, what do you mean?
So this is one
or
party.
How does it work? Let me ask. How does it work?
So one of the parties, husband or wife, would go to court, file the petition for divorce, and the other party does not respond. Now, if you file for an uncontested divorce, then the court will just grant you the orders because the other party has not responded.
I find it strange that people are tired of one another and they have to contest a divorce. Like, isn't it weird that the law requires that there be a contest?
Yeah, it's a good argument, and many people have said that our divorce laws should probably be looked at to remove this requirement of at fault. But of course, there could be valid reasons to contest a divorce. Even though you don't want to live with each other, it is the same divorce petition that can lay claims for spousal maintenance. So that might be a reason you would want to contest a divorce. And then divorces usually happen in the midst of separation, whereby issues even of child custody are being considered, issues of matrimonial property. So usually there's a lot of stuff going on, and divorces are rarely friendly and people coming and in agreement for this.
Okay, in case this couple chooses the middle ground and does an uncontested divorce,
Yes.
and yet they say they had money and property, they got together.
Yes.
Luckily or unluckily, they have no children, so there might not be a case of custody. What can they split the property before they do the uncontested application?
Well, they would probably want to do it after, but the question maybe you're asking is whether they need the court to decide, and the answer is no. So you don't have to go to court to ask the court to tell you how to split property. You can simply agree between the two of you.
The reason I'm asking that is because if the person who sends the application says they want some things,
Yes.
and then you didn't contest, and then you find out that the things were taken, what do you do?
Okay, so like I said, you're not going to have matrimonial property discussions during a divorce petition. The only thing you're going to have is spousal maintenance.
Okay.
So you'd still need a matrimonial property cause to have those discussions on
Okay. So
separation
in
of
this
matrimonial
application, this application does not involve matrimonial property.
property. For divorce, no.
Yes, for divorce.
No.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. My understanding is you have no cause for divorce, at least not in Kenya. Therefore, just look for a marriage counselor and fix your marriage.
Well, Gashao, you really want these people to remain married. But look, legally, I said they can't approach the court in collusion.
Yeah.
They do have possibility of going under the grounds of irretrievable breakdown if they can show the separation. So maybe it's something they can consider, even separating now and coming after 2 years. But also, we have said that an option might exist in going under an uncontested divorce.
There you had it. Both of you, the options, your options are really limited to be in truth. However, you can go for the uncontested divorce or a separation for 2 years. But in Kenya, you cannot collude to have a divorce. Thank you for listening to this episode of Swala Nyeti. Join us for our next episode's question, which reads, I got married to an Ethiopian when I lived in the US. Can I divorce him in Kenya if he has refused to come live with me? Can you really divorce somebody in Kenya who you did not get married to here? And from me, goodbye.
Goodbye.
You have been listening to Swala Nyeti. Special thanks to our layman, Gashao Patrick, and our lawyer, Harry Karanja. If you have a legal question that you want answered, send us a WhatsApp message on 0708 111 222 or email us at admin@swalanyeti.org. You can find downloads to all our podcast episodes on our website www.swalanyeti.org.